Hello and very warm welcome at Amish Shackle 5858. I am Amish Shackle. Foreign news have been reported by American, European, Asian, African, Australian news channels and the news agencies. So please let's go to the headlines.
Tonight, America's most watched newscast, now streaming same day with all the breaking news of the day on Disney Plus. Most watched, most trusted, now on Disney Plus every night.
Tonight, breaking news here. President Trump fires DHS Secretary Kristi Noem. The major shakeup tonight, President Trump ousting Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem just moments before she was set to go on stage to deliver a speech. After those immigration scenes in Minneapolis, the U.S. citizens shot dead, and the grilling on Capitol Hill, lawmakers asking Noem about the TV ads that she starred in, taxpayers paying more than $200 million for them. And tonight, who the president has now chosen to replace her.
ABC iView.
Flooding in the NT, hundreds of people said to be evacuated out of danger as the Catherine and Daly rivers peak.
We've got 6 fixed-wing aircraft who are evacuating people out of that community.
The US president demands Iran's unconditional surrender as it endures some of the heaviest bombardments since the war began.
The achievable objectives of Operation Epic Fury we expect to last about 4 to 6 weeks, and we are well on our way to achieving those objectives.
One man is dead and 4 teens are...
Jenkins is away. Jenkins, he's gonna score. Tom Jenkins.
In NRL, the Panthers pounce on the Broncos in Brisbane, crushing the reigning premiers by 26 points. Hello and welcome to ABC News. I'm Jeremy Fernandez. A major flood disaster in the Northern Territory's top end is continuing to unfold this afternoon. Residents
On this Friday night, the U.S. president's pressure on Iran to surrender. Who could lead Iran next as Israel ramps up its attacks on Lebanon? And Ottawa begins helping hundreds of Canadians to escape the Middle East's mounting humanitarian crisis.
It's beyond the scenarios that we could have imagined.
The hundreds of thousands displaced by war with nowhere to go. A new batch of Jeffrey Epstein files. What one woman alleges Donald Trump did to her when she was a teenager. And a mix of veteran athletes and first-time competitors. The Canadian Paralympians vying for a podium finish.
Global National with Donna Friesen. Reporting tonight, Colleen Christie.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. The Lebanese front in the Middle East war.
Africa News. The news.
President Mamadi Doumbouya returned to Guinea Friday, where he received a grand welcome at the airport following a 3-week absence that had raised questions about his health. Doumbouya, who has ruled the West African country with an iron fist since 2021 as junta leader and then as president, left Guinea on February 13th to attend an African Union summit in Addis Ababa. He had not been seen since. Authorities said Monday that Doumbouya was in good health, having taken a few days of rest on the sidelines of the summit and undergone a routine medical checkup. They didn't specify his whereabouts. Doumbouya arrived at Conakry's Ahmed Sékou Touré International Airport on Friday wearing a brown tunic and was greeted with fanfare by officials and a brass band. Officials did not specify where he had flown from. For months, Doumbouya's public appearances, in which he appeared visibly thinner, have been rare, fueling speculation about his health. He was elected for a 7-year term in December in a vote in which all major opposition leaders were barred. Buya toppled Guinea's first freely elected president, Alpha Condé, in 2021.
At least 51 people have died in violent clashes in southern Sudan between Wednesday and Thursday. Sudan's Kordofan region is currently seeing the fiercest fighting in the war, with the army saying on Thursday that it had recaptured the city of Bara on the road to Khartoum. If confirmed, it could become the latest in a series of cities to fall back under the control of the army. The city of Dilling in South Kordofan is one such case. It was recaptured from the RSF in January, but this week it faced heavy artillery and drone strikes in retaliation. At least 28 people were killed during the attack on Dilling, according to a hospital worker. Although the RSF lost ground in recent months, it is continuing a months-long offensive in the region.
It's been dubbed the N2 Hill Run by residents of Cape Town. Now officials in South Africa's tourism hotspot plan to build a wall to prevent crime along a 9-kilometre stretch.
This is Sky News, the headlines. Donald Trump has talked down the prospect of peace talks, but vows to rebuild Iran bigger and stronger than ever before as the White House gives its timeline for the war in the Middle East. Amid the new strikes on Iran, Israel steps up its attacks on Lebanon too. We'll report from the streets of Beirut. We'll have analysis from our data and forensics team, mapping every known strike on Iran and ask what the targets tell us about the US-Israeli strategy. As a US heavy bomber lands in Gloucestershire, a former diplomat who quit the Foreign Office this week tells Sky News the UK didn't do enough to prepare for this conflict. And crowds gather in Chicago for the funeral of civil rights campaigner Jesse Jackson, who died last month at the age of 84.
Operation Epic Fury is penetrating deep inside of Iran, as tonight we're being told it'll be the biggest bombing campaign of the war. U.S. forces are exterminating what's left of the world's #1 state sponsor of terror. The crippling air campaigns left them bruised, battered, and confused because U.S. Growlers are in the air, jamming Iranian electronics, so the regime is flying blind. Their drones are falling out of the sky like dead pheasants. The Growlers are scrambling their signals, or they're being shattered by U.S. precision rockets. American warships haven't even used our lasers. We're saving them for the next phase. That's on top of the Air Force sinking Tehran's drone carrier last night in the Gulf. Their Navy has nearly nothing left in the water. U.S. Central Command confirming that we've sunk over 43 Iranian vessels. Here's one of their crown jewels. Watch.
This commissioning sends a clear message of military self-sufficiency.
But probably the most important capability of Shahid Bagheri is that it can remain at sea for an extended period of up to a year, a feature that makes it a game changer for the Iranian armed forces.
Now it's at the bottom of the Gulf. We've hit more than 3,000 targets, and the operation isn't even a week old. And you know what else just got hit? The Ayatollah's bunker. The IDF struck it this morning with 50 fighter jets. It's also home to Iran's primary command and control center. Well, it was. Most of the regime couldn't be there to see it. We killed 50 of their leaders in the first 50 seconds of the war. Just incredible stuff. And now Iran's underground missile cities are being turned into ash. 13 of them have been blown to rubble. Former CENTCOM commander and CIA director, General Petraeus, says we are in total control. We want to bring in the big ones, the B-52s, the B-1 bombers, and they are flying now almost at will. I would argue that we have actually achieved air supremacy, not just air superiority.
As Secretary of War Pete Hegseth said, we're just getting started. The USS Ford, the world's largest aircraft carrier, just arrived. It was last seen sailing through the Suez Canal and should be in the theater momentarily.
In your ABC's World News Tonight, America's most watched newscast. Now streaming same day with all the breaking news of the day on Disney Plus. Most watched, most trusted. Now on Disney Plus every night.
Tonight, breaking news, the war in Iran, President Trump's new demand, and is Russia now helping Iran find U.S. troops across the region? And tonight, right here, the video of an American F-15 fighter jet being shot down by a Kuwaiti warplane in the air. President Trump now demanding Iran's unconditional surrender. Tonight, the White House has asked what that unconditional surrender looks like. Airstrikes intensifying across Iran. An Iranian drone carrier struck at sea up in flames. Sources now telling ABC News Tonight the U.S. believes Russia is providing intelligence to help Iran target American forces. And tonight, we're now seeing the video showing the moment a U.S. fighter jet was mistakenly shot down by a Kuwaiti warplane in the air. Ian Panel standing by live from the region. Tonight, with much of the Middle East relying on U.S. interceptors to block Iranian missiles and drones, President Trump now meeting with several major defense contractors, urging them to boost production. Tonight, the price of oil now surging, the highest weekly spike ever. Analysts tonight warning it could soon top $100 a barrel. Where gas prices now stand tonight, the new spike. And the news on American jobs tonight, the U.S. losing 92,000 jobs last month. The other news this Friday night, the deadly tornado killing a mother and daughter trapped in their car in the storm. And a major line of severe storms we're watching from Texas up to the Great Lakes to New York. Lee Goldberg has the forecast. Tonight, news of that horrific case, the 22-year-old Iowa man now charged in the killings of 3 women in a different state. One woman in her home while she was watching TV. 2 others, an aunt and her niece, as they were preparing to go hiking. And tonight, police here on why he says he did it. Tonight, thousands gathering for a final farewell to the Reverend Jesse Jackson. Former Presidents Obama, Biden, and Clinton all paying tribute. There was news tonight of the Nancy Guthrie disappearance. Authorities are back in Guthrie's neighborhood, going door to door. But they're now asking the neighbors. The deadly plane crash today right onto a golf course, what we've learned. And our person of the week, it turns out March Madness has come early. Even the announcers couldn't keep up.
Oh my mercy!
You have to see and hear this.
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York.
This is Asia Now.
It's 12 p.m. in Singapore and Hong Kong, 9:30 in New Delhi, and 11 o'clock in Jakarta. I'm Rani Samtani. At this hour, U.S. President Donald Trump tells Iran it must surrender unconditionally to end the war. His demand raising doubts about a negotiated truce as U.S. and Israeli forces ramp up their attacks. The war fueling worries of a major disruption to oil supplies, and crude prices spiking. Energy warned oil will reach $150 a barrel.
That's when, you really can't get the oil to where it needs to go because it can't pass through the disruption. Just keep going up higher and higher.
Thank you for watching. I'm Shakil 5858. I hope you will come again. Have a good life. Bye-bye.